Have you ever wanted the most premium, high-end, most nicest, bestest Game Boy Advance that has ever existed? No? Oh, okay. You're not gonna like this video then. Hey there, hi, how you doing? I'm TechDweeb, welcome. Thanks for clicking on the video today. This is a bit of a off-the-cuff video. I didn't have any script or anything prepared, but I have something to show you. I have this. It is the Ayaneo Pocket Micro Classic. It's their all-new Game Boy Advance focused device. It's kind of a refresh of a previous device that I reviewed, the Ayaneo Pocket Micro. Actually, I got one. Hang on. I've reviewed this before, but this one was sent to me by LitNXT, and let me show you this. It's actually pretty lovely. And this is like their rose gold version that is supposed to look like a Japanese, Famicom kind of vibe to it. This is their previous device, and it's basically the same as the new one, except this one has analog sticks. And that was actually one of the gripes that I had with this device. I didn't like that it had analog sticks, especially because they're so big. It's supposed to be a pocket device, and these sticks kind of just ruin the pocketability entirely. But I did like the device. It's a nice little size. It's kind of a candy bar style. It is lovely for Game Boy Advance. The fact that you can also play like GameCube on there, a Game Boy Advance that can also play GameCube, that's kind of fascinating. I guess lots of people would probably prefer the sticks version. So yeah, if you want one of these, then buy it from LitNXT. Oh, actually, this is I was looking at their website, and I'm pretty sure that this is actually cheaper if you buy it from LitNXT than if you buy it from Ayaneo. Yeah, check it out. LitNXT, they have a spring sale going on where you can save 15%, and LitNXT has free worldwide shipping. Ayaneo doesn't have that. You gotta pay shipping there. I did like it. It's a good device, but the thing that annoyed me the most was actually these analog sticks. And if you want to play analog stick-centric games, then get this version. But if you are like me and you would prefer to have no analog sticks, then don't get this one. Get this one instead. This is the all-new Ayaneo Pocket Micro Classic. I put it in the box for you just because I wanted to show you an unboxing, but I've already set it up. I'll show it to you in a sec. So in the box we get, come on. I'm gonna guess some word papers. Oh yeah, whole bunch of word papers in there. The wonderful function of Aya button. Wow, that sounds wonderful. And then this will be a USB-C cable, I guess, and that's all you get. I've already set it up, so I'll just turn that on. There we go. Okay, so yeah, this is the Ayaneo Pocket Micro Classic. And the thing that I liked about the Pocket Micro, and that I also will like about the Classic, is that it uses a 3:2 ratio screen, which is not very common for devices like this. And the reason that I like 3:2 ratio screens is it's like a perfect middle ground ratio. The older stuff like Nintendo and Super Nintendo and Nintendo 64 or whatever, that's a 4:3 system, so you'll get kind of like, in the center. And then there's widescreen stuff like PSP. Obviously, this thing can definitely handle PSP. The bars will be minimal on the top and bottom, and the bars on the left and right will also be minimal. So it's kind of like the middle ground size of screen. But the main reason that I love that screen ratio is that it is the perfect ratio for my favorite retro system to emulate, which is Game Boy Advance. That's exactly the screen ratio that the Game Boy Advance was, and this screen is of a resolution that you get pixel perfect 4x GBA integer scaling. So, I mean, if you are looking for the best Game Boy Advance that you could possibly get, like the most premium Game Boy Advance, this is it. This is the one you want. And I have lots of devices that play Game Boy Advance good. I have the 34XX. That's a great GBA device. There's the SP, which is the flippy screen, but that doesn't have pixel perfect GBA integer scaling, so it's not quote unquote ideal for Game Boy Advance. And then there's the Powkiddy V10, and that does great Game Boy Advance, and that has pixel perfect 2x GBA integer scaling. But this one here is like the perfect Game Boy Advance device. It's the best screen, and it's really powerful. This thing can handle GameCube and PS2 and even like Nintendo Switch and stuff like that. Not that you'll want to play those kind of games on this version of the Pocket Micro because it doesn't have analog sticks, obviously. Although there is some GameCube games and PS2 games and stuff you can play on there if you set it up correctly. But like really, this is kind of the top end Game Boy Advance emulator that you want if you are just nuts about GBA. Like I am. I've been actually really excited for this. I really like the Pocket Micro, but I didn't like the sticks. And this has removed the sticks. And I think this has potential to be my favorite Game Boy Advance device that there is, really. This thing is rocking the MediaTek Helio G99 chipset. It comes with either 6GB or 8GB of LPDDR4X RAM, and you get 128GB or 256GB of UFS 2.2 internal storage. The screen is really the star of the show here. It is a 3.5-inch borderless IPS color screen with a resolution of 960 by 640, which is a ratio of 3:2. And for connectivity, you get Wi-Fi 5, Bluetooth 5.2, and it has a 2600 mAh battery. And the system is Android 13. On the front, we have a screen, D-pad over here, start and select on the bottom there, face buttons on this side, and some Ayaneo function buttons over there. Up top, you get bumpers and triggers, volume up and down, and a power button with integrated fingerprint reader, and some vent holes for the active cooling. On the right-hand side, you get 2 more rebindable function buttons, and on the left side, you get a micro SD card hole. Underneath, we have dual downward firing stereo speakers, and a USB-C hole for charging and OTG connection. And around back, we have another vent area for airflow. So as you can see, this thing is kind of crazy nice. It's got this metal outer shell, just the outer shell. This back part here is plastic, but the outer shell is metal. And it's going for that kind of black and gray and red vibe of like the early Nintendo. This is Ayaneo's kind of design language. It's like retro inspired, but not necessarily trying to copy it exactly. I think they freaking nailed it. This is so nice looking. I'm really glad I got this retro gray version. The gold one is pretty nice looking too if you're into the Famicom vibe though. Well, one thing that I like about this new version, since there's no sticks there, is that it really kind of flattens it out and makes it all aerodynamic. It's streamlined. It slides in and out of the pocket way easier without those sticks there, and it's just kind of more elegant without the giant sticks sticking out in your face all the time. I mean, it's not like a big device. You're not gonna get crazy comfy ergonomics or anything like that, but considering the size of it, it genuinely is very comfortable. It's rounded in just the right amount in just the right places to fit into your hands nicely, you know? Yeah, you do. Now, when it comes to the controls, the original Pocket Micro didn't have the best D-pad. It sort of had a bias towards some false diagonals, and I'm sorry to say that this one is the same. See that? I'm holding down and I'm wiggling it just a little bit, but my character's flopping around like a fish out of water. That is not what you want to see. So depending on the kind of games that you play, that might be annoying or it might not really matter to you. All right, Hadoukens are good. Let's see the Shoryukens. There it is. Oh yeah, that's so easy. It's just kind of disappointing that it doesn't feel more perfect. Everything else is good though. The buttons feel good and the shoulders and bumpers, everything feels good except for that D-pad. So yeah, it could be a lot better. Well, when it comes to the system, they just have a very basic build of Android on here. I set this up with ESDE as my front end and my launcher. I have this as the launcher. And then if you need to access your extra Android stuff, there's an app called ES Launcher. And that'll add extra playlists into your ESDE with your extra Android stuff, your apps and stuff. And it works really good like this. It's kind of no fuss. It makes it feel a lot more like, like a Linux device or something like that, where it feels consoleized. You know, you're not going back and forth between the desktop all the time. It just is always in the front end and the games. Although you still do get all the Android settings and stuff. You can pull down your blind there and open up Android settings, and you can do screen recording. And then when it comes to extra software and settings and stuff, Ayaneo has a little something down here. So you push this and it opens up their kind of sidebar, their quick settings area. And in here you get a few things like you can change the performance mode and you get some controller settings, and then you can go to handheld settings. And this is where you get more advanced stuff. Like you can really get in there and tinker around around with the performance profiles and change like the clock speed and the number of cores and stuff like that if you really want to tweak the performance. And there's more controller settings in here. You can rebind these function buttons to a couple Android functions or hotkeys or whatever. And you can tweak the fan settings, and you can also do some updates. And that's it, really. I mean, if you want to see the performance, you'll want to head to my other Pocket Micro video where I show you all the performance for all the systems, and I go through everything with a fine-tooth comb. All I want to do now is just play a few Game Boy Advance games. So yeah, let's do that. One thing that I did when I got this was I used a SD card from a previous device, and I always set it up so that RetroArch puts the save files onto the SD card. So that way, if I go to a different device, all my save files come with me. I don't have to copy them over back and forth or start over on every single game all the time. Oh, I got a water pistol from a merman. That's nice. Squirt gun. It's probably less effective on mermans. I mean, they live in the water. What's a little splash of water on a merman? Take it. Yeah. I just want to get to the big skeleton guy. Oh, no, you don't. Oh, I'm out of my squirt gun ability. I gotta get some hearts. I always found it weird in Castlevania how those hearts, they don't actually like heal you. The hearts just power up your special abilities. All right, let's go for that boss. You're gonna get a face full of my squirt. Come on. There we go. Yeah. And we're out of the squirt power. That's okay. That guy was so freaking easy. All right, well, that's enough of that. Oh, look at the sprite work on that. This is one of the reasons why I love this device so much, is because you get that pixel perfect GBA scaling, and it just makes all your Game Boy Advance games look so authentic. I don't mean that it actually looks like a Game Boy Advance screen. You can make it look like that with some shaders, although I don't usually do that, especially not in video. When you put a LCD shader on the screen and then you record it with a camera, you get this weird like moire effect, and it looks terrible. And I'm doing terribly because I'm talking at the same time. That's why. I assure you, I'm a lot better than this. Oh, Game & Watch. That's always a good time. I made a whole video on Game & Watch games. We played the Game & Watch games as part of the Dusty Game Society. And this is my favorite of the Game & Watch gallery series, where they give you like remakes of the old Game & Watch games. This one's good, Rain Shower. I love how wholesome this is. You're trying to prevent the laundry from getting wet from the rain. Oh, I forgot the crows. The crows pull it back. Damn it. And they always try and mess with you. Oh, no, you don't. Oh, God. I'm doing terribly. It is also like 2 minutes until my bedtime, and my brain is already switching into like bedtimey mode. You know, that's another excuse why I suck. All right, this is one of my favorite Game Boy Advance games. It's called Invader. It is a shoot them up game, and it is hard. It starts out deceptively easy. You know, they don't really throw much at you, but it picks up really quick. And the idea with this one is you want to collect the money as much as you can, because you need to buy upgrades as you play. Yeah, I'm definitely getting some false diagonals on this D-pad. I can feel it. Like this is one genre of game where I can feel when a D-pad doesn't have perfect inputs. All right, do I have enough money is the question. So you go to the shop, that's all I can buy. All right, buy bomb. Forget how to use the bombs. Oh, that's the bomb. Oh yeah, right. The left bumper. It's like a screen clearing panic button kind of thing. All right, I've already died enough, and I used one of my continues, and I just died again there. Yeah, this is a hard game, I'm telling you. It is totally the wrong game to play right now. I am not in the headspace to play Invader. Oh, here we go. I am always up for some Mario Pinball Land. I freaking love this game. I mean, really, I love all pinball games, but this one is just adorable. It's also like barely a pinball game. Yeah, see, this is, it almost feels like an arena fighting game or like a party game or something like that. Almost not really even feel like a pinball game, even though the mechanics are pure pinball. It doesn't really feel like a pinball game, and that's fine. It's fun as heck. All right, that's enough of that for now. Let's do one more game. Oh, Pocky and Rocky. All right, do you go with Pocky or Rocky or Becky? Is the question. Well, I mean, since she's the new one, you know, you play Pocky and Rocky before, you never could be Becky, but now you can be Becky, so you might as well be Becky, right? You know, even though the Game Boy Advance had more graphical capabilities than the Super Nintendo, lots of the Super Nintendo versions of games were nicer looking. And I think it's because on a monitor or a TV, the Super Nintendo has higher resolution. The Game Boy Advance has a pretty low resolution. I think the best looking Game Boy Advance games were the ones that were designed specifically for the Game Boy Advance. Ah, Becky. you didn't make it. This was fun. I've enjoyed playing games and blabbing about nonsense. I don't do this very often where I talk into the microphone while I game. It's a nice change of pace. I hope you like this. Yeah, so that's the Pocket Micro. It is a really, really nice Game Boy Advance. The controls are not perfect, but they're okay. And it plays high-end stuff, but it's not ideal for that because it doesn't have analog sticks. Just don't buy it for analog-centric stuff, and yeah, you'll have a really nice time with this. This is available to pre-order right now. I believe it starts shipping mid-April. I may be wrong about that, but that's it. That's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this look at the Pocket Micro Classic. If you liked the video, give me a thumbs up, and if you didn't, then don't. And that's it from me for today. I'm TechDweeb. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.